Welcome students. This session is for MA Final Year English Literature, Paper 8A, that is New Literatures in English. In this paper, you have poem by Agha Shahid Ali, and in this session we'll be doing his poem, Snowmen. Agha Shahid Ali is an Indian-American poet who was born on 4th February 1949 and he died 8th December 2001. Because he is Indian-American poet, he comes into that category of diasporic writer, and because of his cultural hybridity, his experience of culture and ethnicity is a multicultural one. You can also see him imprisoned in his own mental, psychic sense of loss. His experience of various cultures makes him problematize his connection with the roots. In this poem Snowmen, he speaks of this disconnection and cultural alienation. Before we discuss various issues in his poem Snowmen, let's have a look at his life and works. Agha Shahid Ali was born in an illustrious and highly educated Agha family of Srinagar, Kashmir. Shahid's upbringing was absolutely secular. He was raised in Kashmir but left for the United States in 1976. Shahid was educated at Burnhall School, later University of Kashmir, and the Hindu College, University of Delhi. He earned a PhD in English from Pennsylvania State University in 1984 and an MFA from the University of Arizona in 1985. He held teaching positions at 9 universities and colleges in India and the United States. Ali was deeply moved by the music of Begum Akhtar. His collections include A Walk Through the Yellow Pages, The Half-Inch Himalayas, and your poem Snowmen is from this collection, The Half-Inch Himalayas, A Nostalgist Map of America, The Country Without a Post Office, Rooms Are Never Finished, the latter a finalist for the National Book Award in 2001. So the last one, Rooms Are Never Finished, this was finalist for National Book Award in 2001. The University of Uttar Press awards the Agha Shahid Ali Poetry Prize annually in memory of celebrated poet and beloved teacher. So under this title, an annual award, an annual prize is given in his name. Shahid loved Kashmir. He always had a sense of pride towards it and mentioned it in almost all his poems as a central plot. So even this poem, Snowmen, it has this reference of his beloved place, Kashmir. Let's have a look at his poetic style. Agha Shahid Ali was noted as a poet who was uniquely able to blend multiple ethnic influences and ideas in both traditional forms and elegant free verse. So because he's a diasporic writer with multicultural experience, so we find in his poems a unique blend of multiple ethnic influences. And his ideas, he has written in both forms, traditional forms of verse writing as well as free verse. His poetry reflects his Hindu, Muslim and Western heritages because we know that he was brought up in a very secular sort of a family. So his poetry has a combination of all these three, Hindu, Muslim and Western heritages. In contemporary poets critic Bruce King remarked that Ali's poetry swirls around memory, death, history, family ancestors, nostalgia for a past he never knew, dreams, Hindu ceremonies, friendship, and self-consciousness about being a poet. So all these things, all these components, I would say, that they are there in his poem. Known particularly for his dexterous allusions to European, Urdu, Arabic, and Persian literary traditions, Ali poetry revolves around thematic and cultural poles. So you can see so many cultures blended in his poetry, and his references coming from European, Urdu, Arabic, and Persian literary traditions. The theme of exile, nostalgia for the lost or ruined landscapes, and political conflict inform many of his poems. So, being an Indo-American writer, he has in his poems that theme of exile and nostalgia for his homeland or lost landscapes. He has a nostalgia for Kashmir and political conflict. All these things form many of his poems. He was a superb practitioner of the ghazal, so he was quite influenced by this ghazal form. And ghazal is a medieval Persian lyric form of couplets loosely linked by rhymes or repeated words. So this is his poetic style. Now let's have a look at the text of this poem, Snowmen. Agha Shahid Ali writes that my ancestor, a man of Himalayan snow, came to Kashmir from Samarkand carrying a bag of whale bones, heirlooms from sea kingdoms. So here he talks about the whole lineage, that how his ancestors, they came to Kashmir from Samarkand, and Samarkand is a city from Uzbekistan. This poem is full of metaphors where you get idea about what these words or these images are trying to represent. He calls his ancestors as men of Himalayan snow, and snow somewhere here depicts the temporality of roots and traditions. So the bag of whale bones represents traditions and roots, but they are temporary because he has titled his poem Snowmen. So we somewhere feel that all these images show the temporariness of the traditions. And this tradition, he says, he calls them as heirlooms because in a form of a skeleton, they are passed from son to grandson. And further in this poem, we'll come to know that he talks about that this skeleton is carved from glaciers, which gives the temporariness to whole of this image. So this physicality of roots is the bones, which is also present in Ali's physical framework. But these bones, which Agha Shahid Ali refers to, which is also there in him, in a form of a tradition, it has to be broken, he feels. And though he is in such a close proximity to these traditions in the form of bones in his body, he feels absolutely at a distance from the roots. He further writes, his skeleton carved from glaciers, his breath arctic. He continues writing about his ancestors whose skeleton was carved from glaciers. Here, metaphorically, skeleton is symbol of traditions, of roots, which is carved from glaciers, glaciers or snow, which is again a symbol of temporariness or something which melts and flows very soon. So all these images he gives of the traditions and roots which he wants to break away with. He froze women in his embrace, his wife poured into stony water, her old age a clear evaporation. So in his poems, at times you can see that he does write in context of his mother, and in that he gives that sense of alienation to her, and this mother is also symbol of his motherland, that is nation, where we can see that the mountains of Kashmir, they are symbolically hindering the flow of emotions and communication. So in this poem we see that how Ali is torn between the ethnic Kashmir diaspora and nation as a homeland. So here he sees the difference between the land the Kashmiris inhabit, that is India, after independence, and the land they had foregone, that is India or Kashmir, before independence. Let's analyze the poem up till now. The poem Snowmen is a poem by Agha Shahid Ali, that engages in a mythologic portrayal of a poet's ancestors as men made of Himalayan snow. So somewhere we see that he's using mythological images, calling his ancestors as snowmen made of Himalayan snow. Nostalgia, reminiscences, loss and yearning, which distinguish the diasporic idiom, is seen in Shahid Ali's poems too. Like any other diasporic writer that presents in his works nostalgia for homeland, loss and yearning, and reminiscences, Shahid Ali also in his poem presents these elements. His poetic voice represents in its sparkling eloquence the complexities of relationship between expatriates and their original home. So the relationship between expatriates, or you can say the people of diaspora and their homeland, is not that simple one. It's quite ambivalent, where on one side we see the nostalgia for their homeland, but on the other hand they are equally connected to their present home place, or you can say the place where they are residing in the present conditions. Snowmen speaks of ancestors, death and decay. It both acknowledges and transcends ancestral legacies. So we see that it's not just acknowledging the legacy, the tradition which his ancestors has given him, but we also see that the poem transcends it. Ali depicts his ancestors as snowmen, something that is only temporary, that melts away. Homi Bhabha asserts that remembering the past is never quite an act of introspection or retrospection. It's just when any writer is remembering the past, he is not introspecting it or just retrospecting it, but remembering the past is a painful remembering and putting together of the dismembered past, so to make sense of the trauma of the present. So it's like putting together all the memories, all the things of the past in order to understand the present. So such is the poem by Agha Shahid Ali, Snowmen. We'll continue this poem in my next session. Thanks.